So August 18th, 2010, reports come out that Taylor called Rihanna a wannabe. Apparently, she said, "People think pop is rock and the lines are getting blurred. Now Rihanna is wearing effing leather jackets and it's really annoying." I'm not really sure that leather jackets are like the pinnacle of rock and roll, but okay. And then August 19th, 2010, their Light Me Up tour begins for the Pretty Reckless. And August 27th, 2010, they release Light Me Up, the album. This was their first album, and they said that it was about death, love, rock and roll, sex, substances, and religion. Obviously, she had lived a pretty full life up to this point, and or is drawing on the experiences of others. Her style was also extremely edgy at this point. "X's on my nips and corset dresses with stripper heels" was how she described it. Basically, she just wanted to be dark and outrageous and give shock value, which was a phase. She has said that it was a phase, but we've all been there. I've been there, at least. September 7th, 2010, reports come out that one of her bandmates did an interview and talked about how Taylor lit her dog's balls on fire. Supposedly, he had just been neutered and she took the balls to the studio and they lit them on fire. So not actually on her dog, no actual animal abuse, but still a strange thing. However, according to her, that is a lie because her dog is actually female. September 13th, 2010, Gossip Girl Season 4 airs. And Taylor was not quite as big of a character in the show now, and they were clearly phasing her out, and people were wondering why. The Gossip Girl of Gossip Girl, I guess you could say, our dear sources, listed creative reasons, which would make you believe that maybe they're just kind of done with her in the plot and they're wanting to focus on other characters more. But of course, the rumors were that she was difficult to work with. Also, she had a band completely formed and touring at this point, so she had a lot on her hands and was kind of venturing into other stuff anyways. September 20th, 2010, The Pretty Reckless releases the music video for Make Me Wanna Die. In the music video, she strips down to her bra and underwear, which people thought was kind of insane considering that she was only 17. And this was also just a few months after Miley released the Can't Be Tamed music video, so I think people in general were just shocked to see these young actresses who grew up in the industry coming out and actually becoming adults, rebelling against the image that was created for them, showing their true feelings. It was a lot to take in for us, but boy did I love this spectacle. So October 21st, 2010, The Pretty Reckless is doing a concert in New York, and Taylor flashes the crowd, which people thought was pretty scandalous. Which it kind of is, because again, only 17. Apparently she had X-shaped boob tape, and she was also wearing a necklace that said slave. And she has acknowledged that she was kind of going wild at this time, but she also does not regret it because she said she was living out whatever I was going through at the time. And she also said that the person who is on stage is just another persona or version of herself that she's acting as while she's doing a performance, which is what a concert is. October 18th, 2010, Taylor is spotted on the set of Gossip Girl and she's smoking. She was only 17, so not legally allowed to smoke, but she was also with Matthew Settle, who plays Rufus, and people were kind of mad at him, honestly. They were disgusted that he was allowing her to smoke, even though he's not her parent, so he can't even give her permission if he wanted to. And then Tim Gunn guest stars on Gossip Girl. And he did not have nice things to say about Taylor. He said that she was sad and pathetic, annoying, and a brat. And he said that basically everybody felt the same way, everybody was bothered by her, and that she didn't seem into filming or acting at all and was just constantly on her phone. Taylor has said, though, that once the band started taking off, she did start coming to set every single day with her guitar and had essentially checked out because she knew that she was done, really. But Tim thought that she should be more grateful, and he said that he wished he could tell her, "Thousands of girls are just as attractive and even smarter than you. Why are you acting like this show is a huge burden on you?" But frankly, Tim, just because it's something that's coveted doesn't mean that everybody has to like it and enjoy it. I mean, I don't know, tons of people want to go skydiving. Will that stop me from violently crying if I do it? No, it won't, because I don't want to do that. Not my thing. In November of 2010, Taylor does an interview with Revolver magazine. First of all, in the cover photo, she's wearing lingerie and she's holding firearms, which people really did not like, although it was just really a continuation of all the scandalizing things that she was already doing. And in the article, she talks about her childhood and acting, and it really makes it seem like she never wanted to do it and she was forced into it and she basically resents it, or at least that's how Revolver magazine spun it, and the tabloid spun it. And this became a huge uproar because once again, people were shocked to find out that she wasn't fully into it and incredibly happy the entire time. But first of all, child actors are never going to be into it the whole time because it's work and they're kids, and kids get bored easily, no matter what it is. But also because most of them did not choose it on their own, it had to at least have been partially their parents' decision, if not entirely. But they can also just be going in and out of phases, and that's normal. So this Revolver magazine interview, she's already in lingerie on the cover and holding firearms and talking about how she didn't want to be a child actor, so that was enough to already get people going. But the other part of the interview that people were shocked by was her very open discussion of sex. She talked about watching people's tapes and explicit videos, if you get my drift. And she also talked about self-pleasure and that there is a huge double standard, which she's right on this, that guys can openly discuss it and it's just completely normal, and girls are incredibly shamed for it and it's considered super taboo for us to ever discuss it or do it. Regardless though, she was underage at the time, and I do feel like it was kind of inappropriate for them to publish comments that a minor is making about sexual topics, but I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. And then November 29th, 2010, Gossip Girl Season 4, Episode 10 airs. And Taylor is in this episode, but the rest of Season 4, she's gone. And the rumors were that she was suspended from the show for bad behavior, but that's not her story. She said, "Once I got to an age where I was old enough to make my own decisions, I quit everything and did what I actually wanted to do, which was start a band." And so we know obviously Gossip Girl was one of the things that she quit. And she was still in the cast. She was there for the finale, but she was gone after this episode. Basically, her story is that they wrote her out of the script because she wanted to do music full time. And I think it's probably a combo because obviously if she didn't want to do it, they could have forced her to stay because she was under contract. But if she obviously wasn't enjoying it and not giving it her all, they probably didn't want her to continue to do it. And December 21st, 2010, we find out that Taylor is no longer with IMG Models either. Some said that she was dropped by them, others said it was a mutual decision, just like Gossip Girl. Either way, she apparently hadn't been with them for over a year, and we just never caught on, probably because she was doing so much other stuff, which is also probably the reason that they were no longer working together. January 13th, 2011, Taylor comes out and says that her parents were very upset by the statement that she made in the Revolver magazine article about her childhood. She wanted to clarify that she wasn't angry about her parents, that she loved them very much, and that maybe I didn't have the childhood people think you should have. Maybe it wasn't a conventional one. But I like where I am now, so it's okay. I think my parents have learned by this point that none of what they read is probably true and words can be put in your mouth. Basically, it seems like she was trying to convey that she enjoyed her childhood, that she did get to be a child in some ways, although obviously it wasn't the normal childhood, but she doesn't want normal because she loves her career. And she also said, "Fame is just high school on a massive, massive scale." And if there's anything that I've learned from Bowling for Soup, it is that high school never ends. So, so true. Love you, Bowling for Soup. So also in January of 2011, Taylor does another interview where she also talks very openly about sex again. She said, "My vibrator is my best friend," and that she's very happy to be single, which I think is kind of a healthy attitude, honestly. She also talked about the perceived responsibility on her to be a good model for children, and she said that she is probably a bad influence, and that basically she's not trying to be any kid's role model. February 11th, 2011 is the Never Say Never premiere, and yes, I'm talking about the Justin Bieber documentary. We all remember it, and I will probably watch it tonight now that we're talking about it. Anyways, she came dressed as a dominatrix, according to the tabloids, even though she said she was just coming dressed however she wanted and as herself. She did an interview and she was asked to give advice to other kids who might want to be in the entertainment industry, and she said, "Don't do it unless it's like your dying passion because it's the toughest industry you'll ever be in," which I think is actually probably good advice. And then May 9th, 2011, news drops that Taylor will not be coming back to Gossip Girl. Again, there were rumors that she was being kicked off for unreliable and erratic behavior, but Taylor maintained that she is the one who originally wanted out and that any behavior that they didn't like was probably a result of her not wanting to be there. October of 2011, The Pretty Reckless goes on tour with Evanescence, and yes, my inner emo kid is once again drooling. And she said that on this tour, she learned a lot more about being professional in her music career. And then skipping to March 5th of 2012, that is when her Light Me Up tour ends. And the next day, the Pretty Reckless releases Hit Me Like a Man EP. And just 3 days after that, they are on tour again on their Medicine tour. And during this tour, they did open some shows for Marilyn Manson as well, which is pretty damn cool. October 22nd, 2012, Hurricane Sandy came and it hit the Pretty Reckless studio and everything was destroyed. All their equipment and the new album that they were working on, ruined, lost, gone forever. So they had to start from scratch. And December 17th, 2012, the last episode of Gossip Girl airs. Taylor was in it, just finishing out the job she started, I suppose. And now we are going to be skipping in time a little bit more just because she doesn't have a lot of tea, a lot of beef after Gossip Girl ends, to be honest. She lives a very quiet life. But September of 2013, she's asked about Miley Cyrus again. And I'll tell you what she said in the next part. So in September of 2013, Taylor is asked about Miley Cyrus again. Obviously, the tabloids were trying to figure out if there was still an issue with them, and Wrecking Ball had just been released, so I think that they were trying to figure out, would she say that there was more similarities between them after Miley has released this more raw, real, provocative song? And here's what Taylor said. I think we're two very different artists. I don't think we fit together at all. To each their own. I wish her all the best of success and luck, but I think that I play in a rock band, so it's two very different genres. And she's not wrong. I mean, I don't think Wrecking Ball is like dark rock still. I mean, that's what Taylor was doing at this point. They also asked about acting, and she said, music is pretty much 100% my focus, but I never say never. February 13th, 2014, the Pretty Reckless releases the Heaven Knows music video. And it's definitely very intense, as many of her music videos are. And if they thought that stripping down to her underwear was really scandalous, in this one, she strips down completely naked, except for across all the areas that need to be covered. And then March 12th, 2014, Going to Hell, the album is released. She said that this was a metaphoric record of heaven and hell, good and bad. Good and evil exists everywhere. So true. People were very shocked, however, that she was fully naked on the cover, even though this is literally just her back. I have seen far more skin on this app many times. The album also sparked rumors that maybe she was a Satanist, which she said she's not, she's just not religious at all. And they toured this album for a long time, and then she said that they went straight into writing the next album as soon as they got back. Then April 21st, 2014, in an interview, Taylor talks about the nudity and people's thoughts on it. She said that her parents are not bothered by it, that they know she's her own individual, she's going to make her own choices, basically. She also made the point, though, that she's not doing it just to do it, although there's not really necessarily anything wrong with that either, but that every time that she strips down into lingerie or naked or whatever, it's for artistic purposes and to make a point, basically. But she also did say that she felt like she was starting to dress slightly more conservatively. And now we're going to do another pretty big jump in time because she wasn't dating anyone, not getting into drama. She was really just writing songs by herself for a while. So October 21st, 2016, the album Who You Selling For is released. She also did an interview with Cosmo on that day and talked about her writing process and how she has a house in New England that's like super secluded. She called it Stephen King style, where she basically gets away from everybody so that she can write. And she said that this album was special because the tracks were completely untouched and unedited. And in her words, it talks about being lost and desperation. November 18th, 2016, Taylor does an interview with People and talks about Gossip Girl. She said that when people ask about it, she feels like they're asking about middle school almost because it was so long ago and it's not who she is now. And she was also in middle school when she started doing it. She was only 14. So April 28th, 2017, the Pretty Reckless goes on tour with Soundgarden. And this was, of course, a dream for Taylor because they were one of her biggest inspirations. But then May 18th, 2017, the Pretty Reckless had just finished their part of the tour with Soundgarden and Chris Cornell took his life. This was literally only a couple days after she had last seen him. Obviously, this hit her very hard. And she said that at this point, she really secluded herself and fell into a depression. However, after a while, she did begin to write again and was starting to kind of work on some new stuff, work on an album. And then April 25th, 2018, her producer, Kato Khandwala, passed away in a motorcycle accident. And this was not just her producer, but the person who first got her into the industry, who helped her form her band for the first time, help her write her first album, etc. They were extremely close. And she again fell into a deep depression, and she said that at this point she was really struggling with substance abuse as well. And there were definitely thoughts of taking her own life, She said that she was on the brink of death many times, but ultimately her music saved her. And in December of 2020, The Pretty Reckless released 25, which was just a single. And she has said that this song is somewhat autobiographical, although, art is really always up to interpretation, so you can make of these lyrics whatever you want of them, and she agrees with that. She also said that it is draped in metaphor, so not all of the lyrics are literal, but we are going to talk about the lyrics just a little bit. Stuck out to me were, first of all, and two, I followed you because you knew the way, or so it seemed, which to me sticks out as a child acting thing, 2 years old, following your parents into something that you really don't know what's going on. She also says, from 11, 12, I held the future in my grasp, and all through my teens I screamed, I may not live much past 21. Which, she has been asked about this in an interview, and she said that that's pretty personal and she didn't want to talk about it, but I feel like we all know the illusion there. And then, of course, she says, at 25, all hope has died. And this is right around the time that these deaths have occurred in her life. So that's a little bit understandable, but also I hope that she's doing better. And obviously, it's a pretty intense song, but I'm glad that she can let her feelings out somewhere at least. So February 12th, 2021, the album Death by Rock and Roll is released. And this album was written in memory of Chris Cornell and Kato Khandwala. And they have one song, Only Love Can Save Me Now, which is a tribute to Chris Cornell, and it is in collaboration with Soundgarden. And then there's multiple of them that are about Kato Khandwala or have references to him. One of them specifically is Harley Darling. So what is Taylor doing now? First of all, she doesn't really go on social media a lot. She likes to just live mostly in private if she's not giving interviews or touring, that kind of thing. She has said before multiple times that she's working on a book, and she also has hinted that maybe The Pretty Reckless would do like a documentary. We know that she kind of likes to be away from the limelight and seclude herself when she's not touring and such. So I hope she's somewhere doing stuff she likes. Apparently she loves painting and sculpting and stand-up comedy and writing songs for us, all that good stuff. From the interviews I've heard and all the research that I've done, I do feel like she's grown a lot in the course of her life and in her career. And I don't know why, I'm weirdly just super proud of her. So I'm going to go live at 5 o'clock again this Sunday, and we will read a few blinds on Taylor. There's not a lot of them, but the ones that there are pretty crazy. But because there's only a few on Taylor, I think that I might do some blinds on other Gossip Girl cast members and possibly some on Selena Gomez as well, because that was requested, just a whole live on blinds of her. Also, I am working on a Hillsong series. I'm going to try and get that out to y'all as quickly as I can. I'm also working on a series for my YouTube, but it's just a lot to be working on, and also putting out TikTok series every week. So just bear with me on that one. But other than that, thank y'all so much for 250,000. That is insane to me. Thank you for sticking by me and being sweet to me. And I hope that y'all enjoyed this series. I really, really like Taylor Momsen, I think.